welcome back to day 2 of Freak Week, and I am so excited about this. I'm having so much fun that I am just going to rock my pumpkin spice everything shirt. It just had happened. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the place where Brian and I met. I'm going to talk to you about Western Oregon University and a haunted presence that is over there. So Western has been around since the late to mid 1800s. So it opened in 1856, and at that time there were just a few buildings, and if you've never been to the campus, I'll go ahead and link their website down below. It's a beautiful campus. Many of the buildings are brick. They're like original buildings to the campus. One in particular used to be the girls' dormitory. It is no longer the girls' dorm. It's actually offices for professors, I believe, but it is called Todd Hall, and it is named after a famous resident who may still reside there named Jessica Todd. So many students and faculty members have reported seeing Jessica Todd in the evenings, like papers being moved around or scattered throughout offices. Papers even being graded is some of the story that has been reported. So I will go ahead and tell you a few accounts from people who may have run into Jessica Todd. So in the early 2000s, a professor who was actually managing Todd Hall named Nancy Ganson had an encounter with her, and the story goes like this. Nancy Ganson was working in the facility late one evening and heard footsteps sprinting up and down the hallway of the 3rd floor above her. Oh, I hate it, you guys. Could you imagine like working in this old creaky building and you're hearing footsteps above you? Now maybe in my mind I'd be like, okay, that's just gotta be somebody else. It's gotta be somebody else, but let's keep going. To be certain, professors bring their kids to the office on occasion, but not at 2 a.m. I'm telling you, you guys, all of these stories are going to be around like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. What is the deal? I redid my data entry, went up the stairs, and there was absolutely no one there. She said, I came back down, saved quickly, and went home. It freaked me out. So that's one story. Another story is that people reportedly hear sobbing in one of the halls in Todd Hall. It's called the Painted Hall. This is one that I've heard actually from other students when I first was a student at Western. So these sobbing noises, people don't necessarily connect to Jessica Todd, but it is still happening in Todd Hall in the Painted Alley, and people report that it is a bunch of kids. It sounds like kids sobbing in Todd Hall. In Todd Hall, there's a daycare facility, and so people will hear this crying or this sobbing from these kids when the daycare facility is empty. Oh. And there's also a swing that is reported to swing by itself in Todd Hall in the same daycare facility. So this is the last story I'm going to tell you, and it is going to be about Jessica Todd. So a public safety officer who worked on the Western Oregon campus had this story to tell. One Christmas Eve at Todd Hall in 1997, when Carlton, so that's the name of the public safety officer, and a dispatcher were the only employees on campus. Somehow, every sprinkler valve in the fully locked and empty building in Todd Hall had been turned up just enough to trigger a fire alarm system. Ooh. Carlton went to investigate the oddity. When he returned to the dispatch center, he viewed footage from the security cameras that were turned toward the west end of Todd Hall. In a 3rd floor room, one could see light brighten, dim, and brighten again for 15 minutes. Carlton said he opted not to go back and check it out. I wouldn't either. I would not go back in there. I knew that what we were looking at wasn't normal, Carlton said. In that room, there were just some tables and chairs. There was nothing in that room that could glow. Oh, I hate it, you guys, I hate it. So when people have been asked, especially Nancy Ganson, who was the gal from the first story that we heard about Jessica Todd, when she was specifically asked, do you believe in ghosts? She said, I don't disbelieve. So you guys can make up your minds down below. Is Jessica Todd still roaming the halls of Western Oregon University? I never personally had an encounter with her, but many people that I knew on campus claimed that they did. So maybe they were just wrapped up in the fun urban legend that was Jessica Todd on Western Oregon's campus, or maybe they really had some kind of paranormal experience. So leave me in the comments below what you guys think, and if you are in Oregon, feel free to visit Western Oregon University and check out that spooky site for yourself. Because Western is like an older school, it's been around for so long, there are also other halls and other buildings that are supposedly haunted. And so just because we're talking about Western and we're talking about Jessica Todd, the haunted things down in Monmouth, Oregon, I'll tell you about two other buildings as well. So one is the Academic Programs Support Center, and then I'll talk to you a little bit about Campbell Hall as well. So before the Academic Programs Support Center was that building, what it housed those services, it housed a lot of the archived paperwork and a lot of the books that actually belonged to Western before it became the Academic Program Support Building. And it housed these things because the new library, which is phenomenal, Western has a great library, it wasn't yet open. So they needed just a space for all of these things to be housed. So it was kind of like a mini library is what people say. One of the faculty members, Jerry Parpart, who now works over in the library, used to work in this building. And they said that students swore that books fell off of the shelves by themselves, and that people had just an overall like creepy feeling when they entered that building. And now I've heard a lot of people who will walk into like older buildings and they maybe feel like a presence or something as they come into the building. They have someone in mind that they think might still be lingering in this building. So some of the students blame Dessa Hofstetter, who was a librarian for a long time in Western Oregon University in the 1940s. She was known in her elderly later years for walking around and like shushing people when she worked there. She would also apparently poke people with her cane if they were misbehaving in the 1940s when she worked there. So people think that maybe her spirit is still kind of lingering around. Maybe she's hanging out, putting books off the shelf to get attention, who knows? So then in Campbell Hall, people speculate that a former drama professor still haunts this building. So Campbell Hall used to house a lot of the theater and production services before the new theater was built. And the spirit of George Harding is said to be still roaming these halls. And so he is the theater professor that people attribute to kind of what is going on there. Many people say that strange things will actually happen during productions, or did happen during productions, and people would say that this spirit or these strange things have never ruined a show because Professor George Harding would have wanted the show to go on. So that's what they always say. A few folks have actually gone into Campbell Hall and done like EVP or like ghost hunting type stuff, and some of the results might shock you. So apparently on one of these like ghost hunting trips, they plainly heard a scream during Campbell Hall during their time visiting there, and people said that they could feel themselves being pushed and that they could also feel their hair being pulled. Now, that makes me feel a little bit skeptical. That sounds a lot like the Salem witch trials, and you guys will actually see a video on the Salem witch stuff coming up in the very near future. But a lot of the young girls who claimed that they were being, you know, tortured by witches or whatever were saying that their hair was being pulled. So when I hear something like that, it makes me feel a little bit skeptical. But you guys just let me know down in the comments below what you think. Did George actually pull people's hair during a ghost hunting trip? Is that a thing? Apparently one of the ghost hunters or the people on this trip left crying. Who knows? Could be true, maybe. And so most people from this trip said that they would not go into Campbell Hall alone. All right, you guys, well, thank you so much for being here. If you are new to my channel, this is your first time stopping by, welcome, and welcome to Freak Week. Feel free to hit that red subscribe button on your way out. I usually do like planner stuff and mom stuff, that kind of thing, so if that's your jam, feel free to subscribe to my channel. If you are currently subscribed, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. But don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can see all of the fun Halloween content that I have coming up very soon. So I have a full week of content coming for you guys, and I'm so excited about it. And if you would like to connect with me outside of YouTube on my other social media platforms, feel free to check me out over on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all of those things. Everything that you'll need to find me is down below in the down bar. So again, thanks so much for being here, and by the way, you guys, have fun today.